Well, hello and welcome to India Business Hour. I'm Ashmit Kumar, and here are the headlines that we're tracking this evening. Wall Street plunges at opening bell as recession fears loom large. The global sell-off intensifies with sharp cuts across Europe. Japan's Nikkei suffers the biggest single-day fall in 37 years. A sea of red on the Lal Street. Sensex down over 2,000 points. Nifty down over 650. More than 15 lakh crore rupees in market cap. Wiped out in a single day. Crude oil prices hover near the 8-month lows. Cryptocurrencies see a rapid sell-off. Gold sees safe haven buying along with the US Treasuries. Political turmoil in Bangladesh. After 15 years in power, Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina flees the country and lands in India as anti-government protesters storm her residence. Army chief steps in and forms an interim government. Tension simmer in the Middle East. US Secretary of State Anthony Blinken tells the G7 that an attack by Iran is imminent. Hezbollah launches a drone attack on northern Israel. 40 Palestinians killed in Gaza in the last 24 hours after Israeli attacks. Bharti Airtel reports a mixed Q1. Profit doubles due to exceptional items. Margins and average revenue per user marginally below estimates. Indigo plans to double its fleet size to 700 aircraft in 6 years. Airline celebrates 18th anniversary with the launch of business class travel on the Delhi-Mumbai route from mid-November, with fares starting at 18,000 rupees. Ola Electric's 6,000 crore rupee IPO is fully subscribed on day 2. Retail portion sees strong demand. The QIB portion clocks 40% subscription. Independent directors at state-run Power Finance Corporation raise concerns over a loan to the Shapurji Palonji Group. Sources say directors question the loan to an infra business, which is not the core business for PFC. From being a ticket collector in railways to Olympic glory, bronze medalist Swapnil Kusale speaks to CNBC-TV18. The shooter says his dream is not complete and is gunning for gold. Well, let's start with what was a manic Monday for the stock markets across the world. Shares on Wall Street plunging at opening bell as fears of a US recession loom large. Slowdown in US jobs growth and sluggish wage increases have sparked economic fears that are taking a toll on the markets. And it is not just stocks. Crude oil is hovering around 8-month lows. There is simply no place to hide as even cryptocurrencies have gone into a meltdown. Gold prices are seeing safe haven buying along with US Treasuries. Stocks in Japan, meanwhile, suffered the most with the market plunging over 12% there. This is the biggest single-day fall in Japan since the infamous Black Monday of 1987. The Korean Kospi was down over 8%, and all this did not bode well for our markets either. The sensex was down over 2,200 points, and the Nifty, meanwhile, was down 660 points in what was a broad-based sell-off. All sectoral indices ended in the red. Prashant Nair joining us now to help us understand what those factors were that sparked this global sell-off. Prashant.
What I'm going to do is put out 4 reasons why the market actually got spooked. It all, of course, began on Friday evening with the US monthly jobs report, which was much lower than what was expected. And that essentially sparked recession fears. That is very different from even the mood a week ago when people were of the opinion that the US economy will engineer a very soft, orchestrated kind of a slowdown, which will not too bad, but at the same time, it will allow the Fed to cut rates as well. All that is out of the window now, and markets are themselves anticipating that the economy perhaps will see a bit of an uncontrolled slowdown, hard landing if you want to use that word, and the Fed now seemingly is behind the curve, which means that it needs to cut now and not later this year. As a result of which, money markets are now pricing in not a 25 basis point cut in September, but a 50 basis point cut in September. And cumulatively for the year, they're expecting a 125 basis point rate cut through 2024, the remainder of 2024. The other one, of course, is this entire yen carry trade business. Investors borrowing sort of cheap yen in Japan. Interest rates have been low there for the last 25 years. and then investing in higher yielding stocks, bonds, all asset classes, foreign exchange around the world. A lot of that money has gone to all places around the world. Now, what has changed that is that the yen has actually gone from 162 to 142 in 1 month flat. I mean, this is not some piddly small frontier market, but with yen and Japan we are talking about. As a result of which, currency calculations when you're actually doing this carry trade goes haywire, and that is a result, and as a result of which a lot of forced unwinding is taking place. That is essentially what carry trade unwind is. We don't have no one actually knows how large this is, how much money is at stake on this carry trade, specifically with regards to yen going, this money going to other parts of the world, but it's expected to be sizable. Next, of course, is Nvidia, which has, of course, been an outsized driver for US market returns. And news came in early that Nvidia is reportedly delaying its next AI chip by at least 3 months. It's called Blackwell, and it's not a coincidence that the Taiwanese market, which has got so much semiconductor weightage and the entire value chain, supply chain, was amongst the worst performers in Asia today. And also tellingly, NASDAQ has been underperforming the S&P 500, even though, the big tech earnings are all behind us. And that's thanks to, of course, fears around Nvidia. Geopolitics, I don't think, was a real dominating driver, but at the margin, keep that at the back of your head as you look ahead, because at the political news website, Axios reported that, an attack by Iran and Hezbollah against Israel could start as early as Monday. So a cocktail of events is always coming together. Markets, of course, taking a big gash today.
Right, Prashant, thanks a lot for that. Now, the fall in Nikkei led to a sharp drop in SoftBank shares as well. A 19% fall today wiped out nearly $15 billion in market cap. This is the biggest single-day fall since founder Masayoshi Son took the company public, and that's way back in 1998. According to Forbes, Son's net worth fell by as much as $4.6 billion alone. Well, meanwhile, Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway has sold nearly 50% shares that it held in tech giant Apple, amassing a massive cash pile of nearly $280 billion. The Omaha-based conglomerate disclosed in its earnings filing that its holding in the iPhone maker was valued at $84.2 billion, and that was at the end of the second quarter. Reports have suggested that the company also offloaded shares in Chinese EV maker BYD and Bank of America. Well, now to the other big story from India's neighborhood. It was a culmination of the political turmoil that roiled Bangladesh in recent weeks following large-scale demonstrations against Sheikh Hasina and her government. Today, months after winning a historic fifth term in a controversial election, Sheikh Hasina resigned as the Prime Minister and fled to India in a military plane. Visuals showed thousands of protesters storming the residence of Prime Minister and vandalizing the property. Many protesters were also seen in possession of artifacts from the house. Protesters also entered Bangladesh Parliament and ransacked the premises. The army chief, in a live address, promised to put an end to what he called was anarchy. Chief of Army Staff Zaman said that an interim government would be formed. While the formation of the government is yet to be finalized, it is clear that it would have a direct imprint of the army. In what came as a strong display of dissatisfaction against the Hasina regime, a statue of her late father, Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, colloquially referred to as the founder of Bangladesh, was vandalized. At least 98 protesters died and several injured in clashes yesterday. The total death toll is around 300 since the demonstrations began a month back over a High Court ruling in favor of reinstating 30% quota in government jobs for descendants of freedom fighters. Well, for more on this, we're joined by Sultan Mohammad Zakaria, co-founder of Bangladeshi Diaspora for Justice and Accountability, joining us from Madison in the United States. Meanwhile, also joining us is Dr. Badiul Alam Majumdar, political commentator and economist from Dhaka with us. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. Mr. Zakaria, let me come to you first. An interim government is in the works. We've had a couple of hours to digest what the army chief had to say. The fact that there is still speculation regarding the interim government suggests that there's a great deal of interest in deciding what the future course of action is. Give us a sense. Will this interim government enjoy the confidence and the trust of the public to actually restore calm and to bring about some stability?
Well, short answer is We hope so, because this is an unknown, and we are entering into a completely new territory now. The last 2 weeks had been quite an upheaval, and I think Bangladeshi people are very jubilant right now, and I don't want to spoil their moment. So I'm optimistic, but that's really an unknown territory right at this moment. Right now, if you ask me for this moment, yes, they enjoy the confidence and trust of a vast majority of the people. But to what extent that will remain after, we will have to ascertain that in a few weeks' time, and we'll have to take that call.
Mm-hmm. Let me throw that question across to Dr. Majumdar as well. Doctor, there are a few names that have been doing the rounds on social media. Of course, speculation at this stage. Salimullah Khan is one of those names. He's a known member of the civil society, widely respected as well. Is he likely to enjoy the confidence and trust going forward? What are the options that the army chief has at this point, that the president has at this point, to restore some semblance of normalcy to Dhaka?
Thank you. It's a victory of the people. In fact, people call it a new liberation. Liberation from the autocratic rule and liberation from looters and plunderers who really made this country an unlivable place, so to speak. And so we need a new beginning. And in the past, Bangladesh had new beginning. In 1971, we had liberation. We had a new country, and we hoped, and common people hoped that the people who will be running the show, running the country, will run in the interest of the people. Then again, another chance came in 1991. The parliamentary democracy came back, but the hope of the people were dashed very quickly. And now it's as I said, it's a new liberation, new start, and under the leadership of a group of young people, and they have been able to galvanize people's upsurge throughout the country and bring together everybody. Today I was on the street, and people are hugging, kissing me, and saying in no uncertain terms, never again. The betrayal that we have experienced, that must not happen. So we'll have to have the right kind of people in the new government, and who must work in the interest of the people. Yeah.
Sure. Let me also get a few thoughts, Mr. Zakaria, from you on a developing story, which is the fate of Sheikh Hasina. She's fled the country. She stepped down after being called in, after the army chief, in fact, gave her a call, asked her to step down. I just want to get your thoughts on the contrasting visuals. On one hand, you have Sheikh Hasina fleeing the country, coming to India. On the other hand, you also have a lot of these young protesters ransacking the residence of the Prime Minister, ransacking the parliament, a lot of artifacts being vandalized. Just want to get your thoughts. What message is that sending out about what the future holds for Dhaka, for Bangladesh?
Well, first of all, I think Sheikh Hasina has to face trial, be it in Dhaka or in ICC. And for that part, I think we started a process even before she was contemplating to resign. Lots of bloods in her hand, and she killed many people that any dictator in our part of the world has ever done so. So I think it's really, really important that Sheikh Hasina face justice for the crime she committed. So that's one part. I think she should not get away. Whatever place she lives in, wherever she lives in, we should all chase her to justice and bring her to justice. And we will resolutely do that. Whatever capacity we can deploy. The second part is the aftermath after Sheikh Hasina is now departed the country. I think people have legitimate grievances. They're very angry, and we saw last 2 weeks how the thugs and goons deployed by Sheikh Hasina and her student wings shot and killed people, hundreds of people. I mean, we have official figure around 400 now, but I think the real figure would be as many as 800 or more. And this is the death figure. And then think of how many people received the wounds, the gunshots. So the anger was boiling and frustrations was very high. And I see, I mean, the initial moment of some outburst would be there, and we urge all students and student leaders to restore calm, not to attack any innocent people, any individuals, because I mean, taking the law in your own hand would defeat the whole purpose of it. So I mean, this is a long fight, and unfortunately, violence is begetting violence. Thank you.
Right, so a difficult situation, this unprecedented situation, this as far as Bangladesh is concerned. We'll of course keep our eye on developments coming in from Dhaka. I'd like to thank both of our panelists for sharing their time and their insight with us. But moving ahead, staying with global news, tensions in the Middle East are continuing to mount as fears of a war between Iran and Israel looms large. Hezbollah has said that it has launched dozens of rockets at Israel in support of the Palestinian cause. Reports have suggested that the U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken alerted the G7 ministers that an attack by Iran on Israel was imminent in the next 24 to 48 hours. This comes after Iran pledged to retaliate for the killing of the top leaders of Hamas and Hezbollah last week. However, Iran's foreign ministry spokesperson has said that Tehran is not looking to escalate regional tensions, but it believes that punishing Israel is necessary to prevent further instability.
The Israeli military said it was targeting.
Well, coming up on India Business Hour, Indigo plans to double its fleet size to 700 aircraft in 6 years. Airline celebrates 18th anniversary with the launch of business class travel on the Delhi-Mumbai route from mid-November, with fares starting at 18,000 rupees. And you can also catch all CNBC-TV18's news and updates on Facebook, X, Threads, Instagram, and JioCinema. Well, in earnings corner now, Bharti Airtel reported a mixed set for Q1. Profits more than doubled to 4,160 crore rupees, but that was largely due to exceptional items. Revenue growth of 2% was in line with estimates, but margins contracted by as much as 30 basis points and was below the expectations. Average revenue per user was at 211 rupees, which was marginally below estimates as well. And Ola Electric's 6,000 crore rupee initial public offering gets fully subscribed on day 2. Retail investors' portion has been booked by nearly 2.9 times, while the non-institutional investors' portion has also been fully subscribed. The portion reserved for the company's employees has been seen a subscription of over 8.9 times. The issue will be closing tomorrow. And while staying with the aviation space, 15 months after GoFirst's insolvency case was admitted to the NCLT, lenders of the cash-strapped company have unanimously voted to liquidate the airline. We have learned from sources that the company has filed its liquidation application in the court. This decision comes after the Pitti Singh consortium withdrew the bid and the Sky One offer was not seen as a viable one. Currently, GoFirst owes more than 3,700 crore rupees to its financial creditors. Again, more news from the aviation space. Indigo is marking its business class foray after 18 years of operations. Its first flight with business class seats will be launched mid-November on the Delhi to Mumbai route. The airline plans to introduce Indigo Stretch on 12 routes. The fares will start from 18,000 rupees. Danish Anand finds out more about this latest offering.
India's largest airline in terms of fleet size and market share, Indigo, is all set to grow further. On the occasion of 18 years of flying operations, the airline announced the launch of a tailor-made business product that will connect Delhi to all metro routes.
We start with the metro-to-metro routes, the nation's busiest and business routes. We start with 12 seats on board of the aircraft. We feel that's an adequate number at this point in time. But clearly down the line, when the 350 will be there, when we start to fly longer. So one should never look to any decision or any proposition in isolation. You should look at what's the total picture and the total plan. I think what we're here today doing are unveiling parts of those building blocks of that total plan.
As Indigo now eyes of becoming an airline with a unique business model, the airline also launched its loyalty program called Blue Chip.
It's going to be an affordable business class, and you see the name itself, Indigo Stretch, is basically saying it all. So we are introducing a product which we feel is tailor-made for the Indian market. It will be affordable. It will have all the things you need. It will have power. It will have a different service level. It will have a different catering level, and it's going to be totally tailor-made.
With Indigo all set to induct the A321 XLR aircraft from 2025 and the A350-900 wide-body aircraft from 2027, the airline has ambitious international plans, and by the end of the current financial year, the total number of international destinations that Indigo will fly to will be 40, and as more and more aircraft are inducted, the number of international destinations will also go up. With video journalist Naresh Saini, this is Danish Anand for CNBC-TV18.
Well, a quick look at more headlines. Independent directors at state-run Power Finance Corporation have raised concerns over a loan to the Shapurji Pallonji Group. Sources say directors have questioned the loan to an infra business, which is not a core business for PFC. Aster DM is in advanced talks with Blackstone to expand its hospital network. Sources have told CNBC-TV18 that the hospital giant is eyeing Blackstone's care hospitals in a bid to expand its bed capacity. The entities are looking at a share swap to conclude this deal. Meanwhile, Aster DM CEO Nitish Shetty has resigned from his post. In an exchange filing, the company has said that the Shetty has stepped down to pursue an entrepreneurial opportunity. Adani Energy has raised $1 billion via a qualified institutional placement of shares. The QIP was launched last week with a base size of $700 million, including a green shoe option of up to $1 billion. The capital raise will be used to invest in transmission assets, smart metering business, repayment of debt, and for general corporate purposes. Reliance Capital's administrator has filed an affidavit with the National Company Law Tribunal accusing the IIHL of contempt of court. Sources say that this affidavit comes in response to IIHL's plea for modification to the NCLT's 23rd July order. The administrator's affidavit says that the IIHL's application for modification is not maintainable and that the company has failed to comply with the court's directive. And a report has highlighted stark gender disparity when it comes to rural employment among the youth. While over half of young men in rural India aged between 18 to 25 years found employment, only a quarter of the women in the same age bracket made it to the job market. Titled State of Rural Youth Employment Report, it has been prepared by Global Development Incubator, Global Opportunity Youth Network, and Development Intelligence Unit. Over 5,000 people across 21 states between the age of 18 to 35 were questioned for the survey. Nearly half of the rural youth said that sales of agricultural produce was their primary source of income. This was followed by daily wage labor and retail trade. The report also stated that around 75 to 85% of employed youth are eager for new job opportunities, out of which young women are eyeing government jobs. And India has seen a rapid surge in digital content creators over the past few years and have also played a major role in shaping opinions. The government's Broadcasting Services Regulation Bill of 2024 aims to regulate these content creators, or as the bill proposes to refer to them, as broadcasters. There are several contentious issues that have come to light. The proposed law will classify influencers and social media pages discussing current affairs or news as digital news broadcasters. Industry stakeholders have criticized the government for holding closed-door meetings with only a select group, excluding digital associations, civil society, and other key players. Another concern is the change in applicability of the rule. In the bill that was shared in November of 2023, the rule applied to citizens of India, but the one shared to a select group includes creators who have other citizenships too. The stakeholders are also concerned about the penal action for non-compliance of the proposed rules, which includes a fine of up to 1 crore rupees and a jail term of up to 5 years.
Anyone in the world who is producing certain content which is beyond a certain threshold as a part of a systematic business activity, this bill will apply to them if they are not doing news, which means Taylor Swift will have to run her content, have to comply with Indian regulators and their restrictions. There's Hanuman Kind who just released an Indian rap single that seems to be, becoming extremely popular. That song and perhaps the lyrics will have to be evaluated by a content evaluation committee.
Content committees, independent journalists, small content creators have very small teams. So if you're asking everybody to sort of create a content evaluation committee, you're asking them to set up a grievance redressal committee, you're asking them to become members of, councils or self-regulatory bodies, then you are actually creating a large amount of compliance burden. When you have such a compliance system and you have penalties associated with non-compliance, then it also opens the door for the government to selectively, pick and choose who to go after.
Well, before we wrap, from being a ticket collector in railways to Olympic glory, bronze medalist Swapnil Kusale spoke to CNBC-TV18's Parikshit Luthra. The shooter from Maharashtra says his dream is not complete and he's gunning for gold.
It's an honor to win a medal for the India and proud moment for me and all the Indians. And it's like just a first day tha, so training ka and everything is all going well. And जैसे ही मैच डे है तो काफी प्रेशर फील होता है एंड काफी अजीब सा फील होता है, स्टमक में बटरफ्लाइज भी होते हैं. सो उसको थोड़ा सा निगलेक्ट करके बॉडी के ऊपर फोकस करके आई वेंट देयर एंड द प्लेड अच्छे से.
जब पता चला कि आप जीत गए हैं, ये अनाउंसमेंट हुई, तो कैसा लगा उस समय? बिलीव हुआ था?
एक्चुअली सर माय ड्रीम इज डिफरेंट, लाइक बट आई एम क्लोजर टू माय ड्रीम. सो इट्स लाइक कि मेरा जो प्रोफेशनल था, लाइक मेरा जो वहां पे काफी बढ़िया से परफॉर्म करने का तरीका चल रहा था, तो उसके प्रोसेस में ही मैं था जब लाइक आई वॉन द मेडल. बट ऐसा कोई फील नहीं हुआ कि क्या चल रहा है क्या नहीं चल रहा है. तो पीछे एवरीवन इज लाइक शाउटिंग एंड द विनिंग मोमेंट था.
सबसे पहले किसको फोन किया आपने, या किसने आपको बधाई दी? परिवार में से, दोस्तों में से?
पहले तो मेरे पास फोन नहीं था, बट आई कॉल टू माय कोच दीपाली मैम एंड आफ्टर दैट अक्षय भाई एंड फैमिली एवरीवन, बिकॉज जो कलीग थे एंड जो टीम थी मेरे साथ, उनके फोन से ही मैंने फोन किया था. तो पहले मैम को फोन किया था.
किसको डेडिकेट करेंगे ये विक्ट्री आपकी?
पूरे भारत देश को, बिकॉज ये पूरा भारत देश ने सपोर्ट किया, अभी काफी टाइम से सपोर्ट कर रहे हैं मुझे. So it's belong to India only.
Well, with that, it's a wrap on this edition of India Business Hour. Thank you so much for watching. News and updates will continue right here on CNBC TV 18.